My name is Gary. I'm a shoemaker. We make shoes from scratch. We basically go by any kind of picture, sample, or sketch you bring in. We take the customer's measurements, and then off of these measurements, then we make a wooden last, which is their exact foot with the design that they choose. Here we have a picture of what they want. We basically sketch on the actual mold itself what the result is going to look like before we actually start cutting away. We make a pattern of the actual shoe that's being made. This particular style was made from black suede, so it's basically put together like this, and all the extras will be cut later, but for now we just put it together so the customer could come in for a fitting and make sure everything is in the right place. It's not too tight or it's not too loose. This pair of cowboy boots were brand new, believe it or not, about a month ago, and the customer wanted us to make it look vintage and very old and very fragile. So we took a thin, very fine piece of sandpaper and started just shaving away the sides, and we started beating it with a hammer, and we did whatever was necessary to make it look like this. The whole idea was to try to make it look about 40 years old. We start off with a mold that's close in size, and then we start adding or taking away from the actual material. This mold was originally a regular 43, and we had to add some material to compensate for the customer's size. As you can see, half is made out of cork and half is out of leather, and this was a perfect fit for the customer. This is really fine Italian leather. Out of this skin, we can make probably 2 pairs of shoes. We need roughly about half a yard. This room has to stay at a certain temperature so all the leather remains soft and they don't dry up. We make all kinds of shoes, anywhere from rock and roll bands to clown shoes to period pieces. Whatever you can sketch, we can make. It's no big deal. Most of the shoes out there that say handmade shoes, they're not really handmade. 90% of it is machine made. I wouldn't trust handmade mark on any shoes unless you see it as it's being made. We specialize in custom made shoes and boots. When we get repairs in, it's a little bit easier for us because since we know how to make it from scratch, it's a lot less work repairing it. We know how the whole system works. We have a couple customers that would only get custom-made shoes. They always go to the stores, buy the pair of shoes so we can copy the style, then return it when we're all done. They refuse to get any kind of store-bought shoes. When it's all handmade, you get to see what you're doing right and wrong. You can fix it as you go. But when a machine makes a shoe, there's not too many people that overlook the whole situation, and it's just spit out. There's a lot of people that sketch their own designs, bring it in, and then when we make the pair of shoes, they would show us how they display it at their house. They wouldn't wear it. They would keep it as almost like a masterpiece of art. I find it interesting that people would never wear it, but respect the kind of work we do. The range of customers that we have start from people on Sunset Boulevard to royal kings and queens in Europe. The most unique pair of boots that we made were the New York boots. Every single window was a stitching, every single building was a separate panel of leather. We have all the buildings in there. The Twin Towers were in there, the Chrysler building, pretty much the whole city from a sky view. The pair of boots cost roughly about $10,000 because of all the time that went into it. It took about 3 to 4 months to complete.